श्री राधा राधानाथ की श्री निताय गौर सुंदर की Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Maharani, our beloved spiritual master, divine loving grace, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananda Kori Vaishnava ki, Jai Go Premanande, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananda Gauri Vaishnava ki. Repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savidutam Paridhana Chaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Sa Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikantai Radhakantai Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Vanchakalpatri Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutam Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Nam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutam Srimati Bhakti Siddham Saraswati Samarasana Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Everyone got Bhagavad Gita as it is? We're going to start reading Bhagavad Gita and discussing Bhagavad Gita every week. Very, very important literature. In fact, it is the most important literature, spiritual literature or transcendental literature that we should study from. And there is no need. There is no need to study from any other literature. If you know Bhagavad Gita as it is. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, Bhagavad Gita, the word Where did the word Bhagavad Gita come from? Anybody know? Hare Krishna. From where did the word Bhagavad Gita come from?
Bhagavan.
Huh?
Bhagavan.
Who said that?
Dhiren.
Yeah, give him a big hand, please. Coming from the word Bhagavan. And what does Bhagavan mean? Huh? What does Bhagavan mean?
The Supreme.
There's two words, Bhaga and Van. What does Bhaga and Van mean? Bhaga means opulences. And Van means the possessor of all opulences. Right? Again, I'm going to repeat. Bhaga means opulences. Just try to remember this. And Van means possessor of all opulences. What that means, possessor of all opulences? Now, what is the opulences that one must be to Bhagavan to possess? The Supreme Person of God had 6 opulences. Anybody can give me some?
Full knowledge.
Huh?
Full knowledge.
Yes, he is most intelligent. Anything else?
Most famous.
Huh?
Most famous.
Yes, he is most famous. Also,
Most powerful.
huh?
Most powerful.
Yeah, he is the most strongest. Anything else?
Most knowledgeable.
Most renounced.
Yes, I just mentioned that.
Renounced.
Most renounced. One more.
Attractive.
Huh?
Attractive.
He's saying attractive.
Attractive. The richest. Most richest.
Most beautiful. Somebody said.
Attractive is most attractive.
Huh? Yeah, most beautiful. Same thing.
And most richest.
Yeah. And also, the most richest. Right? So if anybody has all these opulences in full, then he is known as Bhagavan. But if you haven't got these opulences in full, then you're not Bhagavan. You might be beautiful, but you're not the strongest. Right? You might be the richest, but you're not the most beautiful. You might not be the most beautiful. You might be the most knowledgeable, but you are not the other 5. It's like that. Or you might be you might have 2 opulences, but not the rest. But one who possesses all opulences in complete, he is known as Bhagavan. So therefore it is very, very important to know the word Bhagavan, because there are a lot of people that claim to be Bhagavan. Very ugly people also. They become God. So therefore these 6 opulences, you must ask them, if you meet a person who claims to be Bhagavan, ask him if he has his 6 opulences in full. You know, if he hasn't got, Prabhupada said, you should give him one kick. Like that. So therefore we have to understand the Supreme Person of Godhead very clearly. And then, what is the purpose of the presentation of Bhagavad Gita in the manner which Prabhupada presented it? The way Prabhupada presented Bhagavad Gita, in the preface we'll read a little bit why Prabhupada presented Bhagavad Gita like this. Prabhupada is mentioning here that in all of my other books, like Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Isopanishad, etc. The system is that I give the original verse. You see that Prabhupada gives the original verse in his scriptures, and then his English translation. And Prabhupada gives purports to that, meaning explaining the verses. And this makes the book very authentic and scholarly, and makes the meaning self-evident. So therefore it is, therefore Prabhupada has presented it like that. The present attempt is to offer the original manuscript of this great book of knowledge with full parampara explanation in order to establish the Krishna conscious movement more soundly and progressively. Previously, Krishna consciousness wasn't sound. Many people, they wrote Bhagavad Gita or they translated Bhagavad Gita according to their own whims and fancies. But it never made any devotees. And there are over 750 different copies of Bhagavad Gita translations. Not one of them made devotees in the world. Only when Prabhupada translated Bhagavad Gita as it is, and he brought it to the Western world, then Krishna consciousness started spreading all over the world. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. That is why Srila Prabhupada is so important and so powerful. The reason for that is because he's a pure devotee of the Lord. And only a pure devotee of Krishna can tell you about Krishna, not anyone else.
Right.
You have to listen Bhagavad Gita through a devotee. Bona fide devotee.
Yes.
And if you do not listen to Bhagavad Gita through a bona fide devotee, there will be a lot of misinterpretations. So therefore we have to be very careful. And Prabhupada is further mentioning here in his preface that our Krishna conscious movement is genuine, and we know that, right? Historically authorized, natural and transcendental duties being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is, not made by your own knowledge or by the factory of your own brain or something like that. Because we are not perfect. Understand? Only the perfect will come from the perfect. And the perfect person is? Who is the perfect person? The Supreme Person of God and Lord Krishna himself. He is a perfect person. And who spoke Bhagavad Gita?
Krishna spoke.
Yes, Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. How many years ago?
5,000.
5,000.
Huh?
5,000.
Yes, but to be exact, more is 5,539 years ago. Right? And the Bhagavad Gita was spoken at that time like that. And who was it spoken to?
Arjuna.
Huh?
Arjuna.
Yes, it was spoken to Arjuna. And where was Bhagavad Gita spoken?
Kurukshetra.
On the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Can you imagine? Of all places. It wasn't in a gathering in a forest with the saintly persons. It wasn't in a mandir or temple somewhere. But it was spoken on the battlefield where war was just about to take place and death was about to take place. And Lord Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita in such a circumstances. It's unimaginable sometimes. And then Prabhupada doesn't take any credit for this translation of this literature. He said that if I have any credit in this connection, it does not belong to me personally, but it is due to my eternal spiritual master. Who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. And due to him, Therefore, he gives credit to his spiritual master in this matter. And that is why he tried to present Bhagavad Gita due to his spiritual master. So similarly, we have to learn something from here, from Srila Prabhupada, that if we are presenting something, like we presenting something here right now, we have to present it through Guru Parampara. And our Guru Parampara is Srila Prabhupada ki. So we have to give it through Srila Prabhupada. No other way. Otherwise, it won't make any sense. It will be a misinterpretation. That is why Prabhupada gives credit to his spiritual master. And we have to give credit to Srila Prabhupada for presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is, like that. And then more, there are 5 subject matters in Bhagavad Gita. Anybody knows that we are going to discuss throughout the Gita? You can just keep this in your mind. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, there's 5 subject matters that Bhagavad Gita deals with. Anybody knows? Bhagavan, Ishvara, the Supreme Person of Godhead.
Karma.
Huh?
Karma.
Sorry?
Karma.
Karma. Another one?
Prakriti.
Huh?
Prakriti.
Prakriti, yes, is the material nature.
Kala, time.
Yes, Kala, that is time. Yes, that's the 5. Those are the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. You got to know that is Ishvara, the Supreme Controller, the Jiva, the controlled living entity. We are controlled. We are not the controller. And then there is the Prakriti, which is the material nature, time, which is Kala, the duration, that is the duration of existence of the whole universe, or the manifestation of material nature. And then there is Karma, which is, what does Karma mean? Activity, yes. And what is the advantage of hearing and reading Bhagavad Gita? Srila Prabhupada gives that on page 29. Anybody can say anything from your memory? What is the advantage of hearing and reading Bhagavad Gita?
It says liberated.
Huh?
He says
Yes,
liberated.
you get liberated. Anything else?
Purifying.
Yes, it's purifying. Anything else?
Back home, back to college.
I can't hear.
Back to college.
Yes, if you are purified, you can go back to Gaura. Otherwise, you can't. Also, transformation takes place. It transforms you. Huh? And I'm just going to read what Prabhupada is writing here. Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Therefore, we are trying to read this now very carefully. Gita Shastram Idam Punyam Yaha Patet Prayata Puman. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as it is, then one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties of life. Bhaya Shokadi Varjita. One will be freed from all fears in this life. You won't be fearful. And one's next life will be spiritual. And this is mentioned in the Gita Mahatmya. And there's more to this. I'm not going to read all that. Right? And then Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 parts composed of how many verses?
18.
Huh?
18.
Chapters.
18. 700 verses.
700 verses.
18 chapters.
How many chapters?
18.
Yes, 18 chapters. And it is divided into 3 parts. And what are the 3 parts of Bhagavad Gita? As it is. Anybody knows? And it is compared to a jewel box. You know what's a jewel box? Ladies know that very well. Got a cover on the top or the bottom. And right in the middle, you keep your jewel, very safe, isn't it? So it is like that. So Bhagavad Gita is like that, the top cover. The first 6 chapters, from 1 to 6, what it is? Anybody knows? I'm just asking because we need to interact with each other.
Knowledge of Atma.
Huh?
Knowledge of Atma.
Karma Yoga.
Karma.
Yes. From 1 to 6, it discusses about Karma Yoga, activity. And then the second 6 chapters, from 7 to 12, what it deals with?
Bhakti Yoga.
Huh?
Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti Yoga, give him a big hand, please. Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is the rare jewel. That's a jewelry. Devotional service. It's in the center. And the last 6 part of Bhagavad Gita from 13 to chapter 18, what will be discussed?
Jnana Yoga.
Jnana Yoga, give him a big hand, please. Jnana Yoga means yoga of knowledge. So therefore, we must understand this. The first 6 chapters is Karma Yoga. The second six chapters is Bhakti Yoga, or loving devotional service to Krishna, which is the jewel. And the last 6 chapters is Jnana Yoga, or yoga of knowledge. And you'll notice that Bhakti Yoga is in the center and it is protected on both sides by the cover that is Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. And the jewel is in the center. So whenever you are taking out your jewel from the box, so you must know, think of Krishna. Bhakti. Because Krishna is love and devotion. That is why it is right in the center, protected. Right? So these are the important things to know in Bhagavad Gita. And then, what can be learned by the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita? What can be learned? What can we learn from Bhagavad Gita? Srimad Bhagavad Gita teaches us the results of action. When we perform action, we all perform action, right? So what result you get? Bhagavad Gita will tell you. And why our behaviors are like this. Different levels of behaviors, right? And then accurate fundamental knowledge about God. Not just any knowledge, it gives you accurate knowledge about God. That is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then it also tells you about the ultimate truth that we can learn from Bhagavad Gita as it is. From no other literature we can learn the ultimate truth. Right? And then you can also, you also learn from Bhagavad Gita about creation. And then you also learn from Bhagavad Gita about birth and death. And then you learn from Bhagavad Gita about the eternal soul. You are not this body. And then you learn liberation and the purpose as well as the goal of human existence. You learn liberation, how to get liberated, and the purpose as well as the goal of human form of life. So many people don't know the purpose of the human form of life. What is the purpose of the human form of life?
To serve God.
Huh?
To serve God. To serve God.
Yeah. But the most important thing is that you have to get, to serve God, you have to get liberated. You have to get liberated to serve God. So therefore you got to know, therefore you got to get liberation. And the purpose of the human form of life is to get liberated and to become to attain your original form. And the original form of all living entities is that you are a servant of the Supreme Person of God, an eternal servant. So that is the whole purpose of the human form of life. And now that we just gave you an outline of Bhagavad Gita, we're going to just set the scene.
5 + 4.
Okay. We're going to just set the scene in Bhagavad Gita. Why did this battle have to take place, and they assembled on the battlefield? You got to understand that. Because without understanding that, you won't know why they gathered on the battlefield. Right? So we're going to read a little and discuss, setting the scene. Where does Bhagavad Gita appear originally?
Mahabharata.
Yeah, give him a big hand, please. Right in that too, in the center of Mahabharata, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, right? And how many verses Mahabharata? Just for information's sake.
120,000.
Anybody else?
100,000.
Yes, give him a big hand, please. 100,000 verses. The Mahabharata, can you imagine? 100,000 verses to read. It's a very long epic. And in between that epic, right in the center is Bhagavad Gita as it is, which Lord Krishna spoke. And how long ago was Bhagavad Gita spoken? Any guesses?
You said
5,000.
536.
Give him a big hand, please. Yes. Some 50 centuries ago, 5,539 years ago, that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. To who did he speak Bhagavad Gita? To me? Huh? Give him a big hand, please. Yes. He spoke to Arjuna, who was his devotee and friend. Yes. And Bhagavad Gita is one of the greatest philosophical and religious dialogues known to man. There was no other dialogue like this. The greatest. It took place just before the onset of a war. Just before the war could take place. A conflict between the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra on the opposing side, their cousins, the Pandavas, were the sons of Pandu. So the war was between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers born in the Kuru dynasty, descending from King Bharat. That he was a former ruler of the earth, from whom the name Mahabharat derives, from King Bharat. He was a former ruler before the Pandavas. Because Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, was born blind. He was a blind king. He was born blind. The throne that otherwise would have been his was passed down to the younger brother, Pandu. So Pandu is the younger brother of Dhritarashtra. But because he was blind king, how can he rule? So that opportunity was given to the younger brother, Pandu, to become the king. When Pandu died at an early age, Pandu, who is the younger brother of Dhritarashtra, he died at an early age, and his 5 children, and who were his 5 children, you can guess?
Pandavas.
Huh?
Pandavas.
Yeah, if the Pandavas, the names? Any guesses? Arjuna?
Bhim,
Huh?
Bhima,
Bhima?
Yudhishthira,
Yudhishthira? Nakula?
Sahadev.
And Sahadev. Yes, they were the 5 sons of Pandu. That's why known as Pancha Pandavas. They came under the care of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was taking care of them, who in effect became, for the time being, the king. He was just for the time being, he took over the throne because his brother Pandu died and the children were very young. Thus, the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu grew up in the same royal household, in a family. Together they grew up. Both were trained in the military arts by who? Dronacharya, yes. And counseled by the revered grandfather. Who was the grandfather of the Kuru dynasty?
Bhishma.
Bhishma there. That's why they call him the grandsire or grandfather, Bhishma. Very big personality. Yet the sons of Dhritarashtra, especially the eldest Duryodhana, hated and envied the Pandavas in the family. Right? This happened like that sometimes. Sometimes between brothers and sisters, they envy each other and they hate each other. You know, when they are growing up. If they are not properly brought up in God consciousness. And the blind king and weak-minded Dhritarashtra, he wanted his sons, not those of Pandu, to inherit the kingdom. So that's what happens in a family when we live together. Sometimes the parents pass on. Then when they want to divide the inheritance, trouble takes place. So much of problem. Who must the house go to? Who must the bank balance go to? Who must the car go to? It's the same thing that's being taught to us here, what happens in the material world. That happened that time. Because of greed and envy. That's what happens. And thus Duryodhana and Duryodhana with Dhritarashtra's consent plotted to kill the young sons of Pandu. Sometimes this happens. So many things were done. They were even the Pandavas were tried to be poisoned, like that.